The night was cold and heavy with silence. The human outpost stood like a lonely fortress on the edge of alien land. Soldiers guarded the gates, weapons ready, eyes scanning the horizon. Inside the command room, a man sat at his desk, his face lit by the pale glow of a lamp. He was Commander Elias, a human leader known for his sharp mind and hard heart. Suddenly, alarms echoed through the outpost. The gates shook as someone pounded against them with desperate force. Soldiers raised their rifles, waiting for the order to fire, but then, through the dust and shadows, a figure stumbled forward. It was a woman, her skin marked by strange alien patterns that glowed faintly in the dark. In her arms she carried a small child, weak and pale, barely clinging to life. "Open the gate," she cried in a trembling voice. Her words carried the accent of her people, but the meaning was clear. "Please, help my son. I'll do anything. Just don't let him die." The soldiers froze, eyes flicking to their commander. They had been warned about alien tricks. Some races would use fake children. Some would pretend to beg for mercy, only to strike when guards lowered their weapons. Suspicion filled the air like poison. Commander Elias stood, his boots echoing across the metal floor. He walked to the viewing platform above the gates. His sharp gaze fell on the alien woman below. Her face was streaked with tears, her clothes torn and dirty, and her arms trembled as she tried to keep her child close to her chest. "Why come here?" Elias asked in a cold voice. "Why risk crossing into enemy ground? You know we could kill you both where you stand." The alien woman raised her head. Her eyes shone with desperation. "Because you are the only ones who can save him," she said. "Our healers have failed. Our medicine has failed. Your people, your science, it is my last hope. Please, I beg you, help my son." For a long moment, silence ruled the air. The soldiers shifted nervously, fingers tight on their triggers. Some whispered to each other, wondering if this was a trap, but Elias kept his eyes on the mother. He searched her face, looking for deceit, looking for the faintest sign of a lie. He saw none. What he saw instead was raw, unshaken love, the kind that burned even through fear and shame, the kind only a mother could carry. The boy stirred weakly in her arms, his breath shallow, his body shaking, his skin glowed faintly, strange marks running like rivers across his chest. Elias felt a sharp pang in his chest. Something about the boy reminded him of his own son, long lost to the war. Still, he could not show weakness. "And what will you give in return?" Elias demanded. His voice cut through the night like a blade. The woman clutched her son tighter. "Anything," she said, her voice breaking. "My life, my honor, the secrets of my people. I will betray them. I will serve you. Just save my son, please. I beg you." The soldiers murmured in shock. A mother offering her very soul to the enemy. Elias stared at her, his mind torn between duty and conscience. The rules said he should turn her away, maybe even arrest her. The war had already cost humanity too much. He could not risk one more trap, one more deception. Yet, deep inside, something fought against the cold logic of war. He saw the way she trembled, not for herself, but only for her child. He heard the pain in her voice, the kind of pain no soldier could fake. He raised his hand, signaling silence. The soldiers fell, quiet, eyes fixed on their commander. The night seemed to hold its breath. Finally, Elias spoke. "Bring them inside," he said. His words were heavy, filled with both doubt and resolve. The gates creaked open. The alien mother staggered forward, her knees nearly giving way. The boy's head rested against her shoulder, his eyes half closed. His tiny breaths rattled like dry leaves in the wind. As she entered the outpost, the soldiers stepped back, some in anger, some in pity. The air was thick with tension. Everyone knew that letting her in could change everything. For good or for disaster, the mother fell to her knees before Elias. She laid her son on the floor and bowed her head. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Thank you, Commander. You won't regret this. I swear it on my soul." Elias looked At the child, then at the woman, his jaw tightened. He knew this was only the beginning. He knew the decision he had made tonight could alter the course of war itself. But he also knew one thing with absolute certainty. He had seen true desperation, true love, and it was something even war could not destroy. And so the story began with a desperate plea, a dying child, and a commander who dared to listen. The alien mother sat on the floor of the command chamber, clutching her son close. The boy's breathing was shallow, his small chest rising and falling in painful rhythm. The glow of strange alien marks still traced across his skin, flickering. Like dying embers, every soldier in the room kept their distance, hands close to their rifles, watching her with hard eyes. Commander Elias stood at the center. His arms folded, his stare was sharp, cold, but behind it a storm brewed. He had broken every protocol by letting her inside. Now the weight of that choice pressed down on him like steel. "You say we are the only ones who can help him," Elias said slowly, his voice firm. "Why? What makes you think human medicine can do what your own healers cannot?" The alien mother raised her head. Her eyes were tired, swollen from tears, but they burned with stubborn light. "Because I have seen your kind heal the impossible," she whispered. "Your science is not bound by the laws of our people. You find cures where we see curses. My son's sickness, it was not born from nature. It was made." The words struck the room like thunder. Soldiers shifted, muttering under their breath. Some looked at the boy with new suspicion. Was he a weapon, a trap, or truly just a victim? Elias narrowed his eyes. "Made by whom?" he demanded. Her voice shook as she answered. "By my own leaders." Her arms wrapped tighter around the boy, as if shielding him from invisible hands. "They experiment on the weak, on children. They search for ways to resist your kind. My son is one of their victims. They let him die slowly. But I could not watch. I stole him away. I brought him here, because if anyone can undo what they have done, it is you." The chamber grew colder. Elias could feel the anger in her words, the heavy truth of betrayal. It was rare for an alien to speak so boldly against her own kind, rarer still to risk her life for it. "And what do you offer in return?" Elias asked. His tone was sharp, cutting through her emotion like a blade. "You stand in enemy territory, asking me to risk my men, my people, my resources. Why should we not end this now? Why should we not call this what it might be, a trick?" Her shoulders shook, but she did not look away. Instead, she lowered her head. Her voice came soft but steady. "Because I have nothing left but him, and I will give you everything I have. My life, my loyalty, my knowledge of my people's secrets. I will betray them all, if it saves him." The soldiers whispered again, louder this time. Some laughed bitterly, calling her words poison. Others frowned, uneasy with the thought of killing a child to silence a risk. Elias felt their stares on him, waiting for judgment, waiting for orders. He paced slowly, his boots echoing on the floor. His mind wrestled with the weight of her words. "Secrets," he muttered, half to himself. What secrets could one mother hold? The alien woman lifted her head, her voice cut through the tension with sharpness. "I was once close to the council. I was their voice to the people. I heard what others did not. I saw what others were not meant to see. I can tell you their plans. I can tell you their weapons. Their weakness is everything." The room fell silent again. This was no small claim. If true, her knowledge could shift the balance of the war. Elias stopped pacing. He leaned closer, eyes narrowing. "And if I refuse, what then?" Her lips trembled. She looked at her son, brushed a strand of hair from his fevered face. Then she lifted her chin, eyes fierce with defiance. "Then I will walk back into the night with him, and when he dies, so too does everything I could have given you. But I will not beg a second time." The words rang heavy. Elias felt a strange respect stir within him. This woman, this alien mother, was no coward. Her love for her child had made her braver than most warriors. Before he could speak, one of his lieutenants stepped forward. "Commander, This is dangerous. The man hissed. She could be lying. The boy could be infected with something meant. For us, we should end this now. Do not let her play with your sympathy, another soldier, younger, less hardened, spoke up. But sir, look at the child. He is dying. No trick lasts this long. No enemy would waste such suffering for a game. The voices clashed. Some demanded she be locked away. Others whispered that perhaps she spoke truth. The chamber pulsed with tension like a beating drum. Elias raised his hand. Silence returned. He turned his gaze on the woman once more. If what you say is true, he said slowly, then saving your son is not only an act of mercy, it could be the key to ending this war. The mother nodded, clutching her son close. Yes, she whispered. Save him. And I will give you everything, I swear it. Elias stood tall, his face unreadable, inside. Doubt gnawed at him, but so too did something else. A memory of his own son's face, a ghost that haunted him still. At last he spoke, very well. His words were calm, heavy with decision. We will try to save him, but if you betray us, if this is a trick, you will not live to regret it. The woman bowed her head, her tears falling silently. You will not be betrayed, she whispered. You have my soul, you have my life, only save him. And so the bargain was struck. Not with gold, not with land, but with love, desperation, and the promise of betrayal against her own kind. For the first time, Commander Elias felt the future shifting, and he knew this was only the beginning of something far greater than he imagined. The night had not yet lifted when the decision was made. Commander Elias ordered a small team to prepare for a mission. Their task was not to attack, not to scout, but to escort the alien mother back toward the borders of her people. With them would travel Dr. Halden, one of the few human medics trained to handle unknown alien illnesses. His orders were clear: study the boy, keep him alive, and see if a cure was possible. The soldiers were uneasy, their faces hard, their eyes sharper than their blades. They did not trust the woman who now walked under their protection. To them she was still an enemy, and the child in her arms could just as easily be a weapon as a victim. As the gates opened, the alien mother stepped into the darkness with her son pressed against her chest. The boy's glow faintly lit her path. Elias stood at the gate, his expression unreadable. This is not mercy, he told her coldly. This is a test, if you are true. You and your son may live. If you betray us, both of you will die before you can take a second breath. The woman nodded without hesitation. Her voice was steady though her hands shook. I understand, Commander. I will not betray you, my sons. Life is all that matters. The team moved through the wastelands, jagged rocks rising like broken teeth under the pale light of distant moons. Wind howled across the land, carrying with it the scent of ash and metal. The alien mother walked silently, her head bowed, every step measured. The boy stirred weakly in her arms, his breath ragged. Dr. Halden walked beside her, his eyes not on the landscape, but on the child. He muttered notes into a recorder, describing the boy's condition: respiration weak, skin showing unstable bioluminescence, pulse irregular, he said. His voice was calm, professional, but his brow was furrowed with concern. One soldier scoffed. You really think this is worth our time, doctor? That thing could drop dead in the next hour, and we're risking our lives for it. Halden ignored him. The mother, however, lifted her gaze. Her eyes flashed with quiet fire. He is not a thing, she said softly. He is my son. He is all I have left. The soldiers sneered, but said nothing more. Yet the mistrust hung heavy, every glance. Every whisper among the men carried doubt. She was an outsider, an enemy, and no amount of tears could wash that away. As the group moved deeper into alien land, danger followed. Shadows shifted across the cliffs. Distant howls echoed through the night once as they passed through a narrow ravine. Sharp flashes of light erupted from the rocks above. Enemy scouts had found them. Blaster fire rained down. Soldiers dropped to their knees, weapons blazing in return, the mother shielded. her son with her own body. Crouching low against the dirt, Dr. Halden grabbed her arm, dragging her behind cover. The boy whimpered, his glowing marks flaring brighter under stress. The firefight was quick but brutal. Several alien scouts fell, their cries cut short. The rest vanished into the darkness, leaving silence once more. But the air was still thick with danger. The humans checked their weapons, their nerves on edge. It was then that the alien mother did something no one expected. She rose to her feet. Clutching a fallen scout's weapon, she turned to the humans, her hands trembling but her eyes fierce. "They will come again," she warned. "Not scouts this time, but hunters. I know their paths. I know where they will strike next. Follow me, if you want your medic alive." The soldiers froze. Some raised their rifles toward her, suspicion burning in their eyes. But Halden stepped forward, his voice sharp. "She saved me just now. If she wanted me dead, she could have left me in the open. We need her knowledge." Elias's orders echoed in the soldiers' minds. This was a trial of trust, and now the trial had begun. Reluctantly, the squad followed the mother. She led them through hidden paths, avoiding patrols and ambush sites. Several times she raised her hand, warning them of danger before it appeared, and each time her warnings proved true. Slowly, grudgingly, the soldiers began to see she was not leading them into a trap, but out of one. Hours passed, the journey wearing on them all. The boy's condition worsened. His glow flickered, his breaths shallow and uneven. Halden worked tirelessly, administering small doses of human medicine, but it was not enough. He shook his head, frustration in his voice. "I can slow it, but not stop it. We need more equipment. We need a lab." The mother's face was pale, her strength nearly gone, yet she pressed forward, whispering words of comfort to her son. She stumbled once, nearly falling, but a soldier caught her by the arm. For a moment, he looked into her eyes, and something shifted in him. Doubt was still there, but so was the seed of reluctant respect. By the time dawn broke, the team reached a ridge overlooking a valley. In the distance, towers of alien design rose from the earth, pulsing with light. The mother pointed with a trembling hand. "There," she said. "That is where they keep their secrets. That is where your answers lie. But to enter it will cost us more than courage. It will cost us everything." The humans stared at the distant towers, realizing this mission was no longer about a single dying boy. It was about truth, betrayal, and the thin line between enemies and allies. And as the sun rose over the broken world, Commander Elias knew the trial of trust had only just begun. The sun was pale in the alien sky, casting long shadows over the valley below. The towers in the distance pulsed with faint light. Like beating hearts of stone and steel, the human squad stood at the ridge, their faces grim, knowing every step forward carried risk. The alien mother held her son tighter, his glow flickering weaker with each breath. Commander Elias gave the order, "Move out." His voice was calm, but his eyes never left the strange towers. They descended into the valley, every sound magnified, the crunch of boots, the whisper of wind, the faint rasp of the boy's breathing. The path wound through jagged cliffs where shadows clung like living things. The alien mother walked ahead, her movements careful. Her voice was low as she warned of hidden dangers. "These cliffs are watched. Hunters wait in silence. They are trained to strike from above." The soldiers glanced upward, fingers tight on their rifles. Tension filled the air. Every man and woman ready for sudden attack. Hours passed, each step heavy, sweat beading on their brows despite the cool air. It was then they heard it, a low clicking sound, echoing through the rocks. A soldier raised his hand, signaling the group to stop. From the shadows above, figures emerged, tall and thin, with armored hides that shimmered in the light. Their eyes glowed faintly, their weapons drawn. "Hunters! Down!" Elias barked. The squad dove for cover. Blaster fire tore through the air, sparks flying off the rocks. The mother shielded her son, pressing him close to her chest. The boy whimpered, his glow pulsing wildly as if his fear burned through his skin. The fight was fierce. The hunters were fast, moving along the cliffs like spiders. The humans fired back, their rifles spitting bolts of light. One soldier fell, struck in the chest, his cry cut short. Another was dragged by a hunter's claws before Elias shot it down. Through the chaos, the alien mother moved. She seized a fallen hunter's blade, her eyes blazing. She fought not like a soldier, but like a mother protecting her child. Her strikes were wild, desperate, but effective. Blood spilled across the rocks, dark and sharp in the air. When the last hunter fell, silence returned, broken only by the sound of labored breaths. The squad regrouped, their numbers fewer. Their nerves rattled. One soldier muttered bitterly, "We bleed for her child." For what? His words carried anger, but none dared answer. Elias turned to the mother. She stood trembling, her son in her arms. Blood smeared across her face. Her eyes met his, steady despite the fear. "You see now," she said softly. "They want him gone. They will not stop until he is dead. He is proof of their cruelty. That is why I ran. That is why I came to you." Elias said nothing, but inside, a storm raged. The hunters had not come for the squad, they had come for the boy. That truth gnawed at him. The journey continued, but the land grew harsher. The valley opened into marshland, thick with fog that clung to their skin. Shapes moved in the mist, whispers echoing. It was hard to tell if they were real or imagined. The soldiers grew restless, their nerves stretched thin. That night, they camped in the shadows of broken ruins. The boy lay on a blanket, his breath shallow, his glow faint. Dr. Halden worked by dim light, his hands steady, though his eyes betrayed his worry. "His organs are failing," he muttered. "I can slow it, but without full equipment, without a lab, I cannot save him." The mother knelt beside her son, stroking his hair, whispering lullabies in her alien tongue. Her voice trembled, yet it carried a strange strength. The soldiers listened in silence, some looking away, ashamed of their earlier doubts. Elias sat apart, staring into the mist. He remembered his own child, remembered the night he had lost him to sickness, no cure, no help, only the cold silence of death. Now here was another mother, willing to risk everything to prevent that fate. And Elias wondered if fate had given him this chance to face what once broke him. Before dawn, danger returned. Shadows moved in the ruins, figures cloaked in bone and steel, not hunters this time, but patrols. Their chants echoed, their eyes searching the fog. The squad froze, holding their breath. If they were found, it would be slaughter. The mother leaned close to Elias, her whisper urgent. "There is a path, hidden. I can lead you through. But you must trust me." Elias studied her face. He saw the exhaustion, the fear, but also the fire that refused to die. He gave a single nod. "Lead us," and so she did, guiding them through cracks in the ruins, narrow passages hidden from patrol eyes. They moved like ghosts through the fog, slipping past death itself. When at last they emerged into open ground, the soldiers looked at her differently, not as an enemy, but as someone who had just saved them. The boy stirred weakly, his small hand clutching at his mother's sleeve. His glow flickered once more, faint but steady. She kissed his forehead, whispering, "Hold on, my child, just hold on a little longer." The squad marched on, shadows still clinging to their path. The towers loomed closer now, their pulsing light brighter, heavier. They knew the journey ahead would test them more than ever before, but for now, they had survived, and in that survival fragile trust had begun to bloom.